joining me here today at Keeping It Real with Reverend Sal G is my brother from another mother, Russ Smith. Russ, how you doing today?
I'm pretty good, man.
Well,
Living the dream, I guess.
I'm happy to finally get you on, and we can talk a little shop and go through your musical history and your walk with Jesus Christ, and eventually showcase what I personally feel is your best song, the Why Wait, the righteous funk of Why Wait. So let's talk a little bit about how we first met. You want to recollect a little bit about No Excuses?
Yeah, good question. So that was a Bible study group, right? Can't remember what we call it, but I can remember they threw a party somewhere, and that was the first time you and I met. I don't know if you remember that or not. Maybe it was a birthday or something like that. But somebody said, "You got to meet this guy, Sal, man." And I said, "Okay, And they said he's a tuba player.
Hey, people aren't supposed to know that.
So I said, "Yeah, well, I'm looking for a bass player. Maybe he could, So that's kind of. And then we talked, and that was the first thing I remember about meeting you.
So when you and your wife Colleen joined the group, you were new. I didn't know who you were, but when you shared, it was so prophetic that I was blown away. Like, wow, these people know the word. They are contributing in a mighty and powerful way. Honestly, felt being new to Jesus Christ, maybe 2-3 years into my walk, I couldn't hold a candle to what you were bringing to the table. It really did blow me away.
Yeah, well, I gotta say that's mostly my wife. She keeps me on the straight and narrow. But yeah, we're certainly in the Word and have been for. I was thinking about that on the way over. Probably, I think I've known about Jesus all my life, but I think I've only really known Jesus for the last 20 years. So when we met, well, maybe 10 or 12 years ago, probably.
About 10 years ago.
Yeah. So, I'm still a baby too, just learning.
Right on. So Russ and I started to hang out a bit, and our wives started to hang out a bit, and one thing led to another, and we had a pretty good friendship. And when we decided to go from one church to the next, you guys shortly followed after that. We wound up at Oro Valley Church of the Nazarene.
Yeah, I think we were being pulled in the same direction for the same reasons, for sure. And yeah, I think that was serendipitous, I guess, that we ended up again in the same place. We had game night, cards every Monday or something, and so we were always in contact since the beginning. But making that move, yeah, that was a good move.
Absolutely. And the reason why I call him a brother from another mother is because we are very much family. We do holidays together. We rally around to each other with each other's family. I mean, your grandkids, I've watched them from birth to the ages there are now. Your boys, I've gotten to know your boys really well. And I don't know how life would be without you and your wife in it. It would truly be lacking.
Yeah, well, we certainly love the Gattuso family. We talk you guys up all the time.
Well, just don't tell anyone about the secrets.
Okay, we'll keep it secret.
So, most people don't know that you have had quite a career in the music business, and Am I correct that it started in the 60s?
Uh, yeah, I mean, that was a long time ago, man. So, yeah, I mean, I started around 10 on the clarinet and saxophone, and my big sister was a piano player. My brother was a horn player, and so it was kind of always intrigued me. Um, but yeah, I basically came of age, if you will, in the '60s. Started playing in bands and that sort of thing. I mean, back then everybody had a garage band. If you weren't in a garage band, you didn't. So yeah, it started then.
And so this was in San Francisco, correct?
Yeah, I grew up in San Francisco. Grew up in the Mission District. Well, what they call the Outer Mission. If you know San Francisco, the Outer Mission is kind of up over the hill going south on what used to be El Camino Real, right, where all the friars were walking, hundreds of years ago. But yeah, so the music scene back then was, pretty live. It was pretty unique, and being a musician already, in it was just kind of a natural morph for me to start playing rock and roll. And the Haight-Ashbury scene, I mean, one of the first bands I played in was who practiced in this basement down below on Haight and Masonic, and doing things like uh, playing in the old abandoned theaters that were coming alive, the Avalon Ball, California Hall. Can remember the first gig that I was involved in that band was a battle of the bands, and our band, the Minerals, was on the same stage as this young man from farther down Mission Street named Carlos Santana. Then he had the Carlos Santana Blues Band. It was a trio, just him and a bass player and a drummer, and they wiped the stage of everybody else. And but I'll never forget that as a kind of humble beginning. That humbled us all. But just more from there. Spent a lot of time that first from about 16, 15, 16. That first 20 years was all music, and then it was all family, and the proverbial had to get a real job.
So before you got into getting in a real job, you're in this San Francisco music scene. You just mentioned up and comer Carlos Santana. Were there any other newsworthy musicians that you rubbed elbows with in that time?
Oh, well, you can only imagine. I mean, rubbing elbows is one thing. You can only imagine how many guys came out of that scene. I mean, there was a whole generation of music being made at that time. Um, you know, opening shows for guys like Eddie Money, and anybody that came through town, you try and grab the opening act, right? Ohio Players, you know, Bob Weir's Kingfish from the Grateful Dead uh, offshoots, and places like things like that. I mean, it was a pretty lively scene, and you grabbed whatever gig you could get when you were that young,
So I know specifically you shared some stories about a certain band named Journey. Would you like to talk a
Oh,
little bit about your encounters with Neil Sean and
so that's interesting. So that was a little later. That was early '70s, where um, we were a house band on Fisherman's Wharf, and little did we know. I mean, the right around the corner was the studio where that group of guys started their band journey. That was the original four, and yeah, they would do their rehearsals and then come over and drink and watch us and pick up chicks. Those guys. Um, I'm not going to mention any names because we never got to be really good friends. So we were just those guys, the house band, right? But yeah, we rubbed shoulders with those guys.
So we'll go back to your last statement regarding you had to get a real job, you had a family. So at that point in your life, what's your relationship with God like?
Oh, without God.
So you knew of him. Did you have a conscious decision to walk away from him, or was it just that you were living a secular life?
Oh, absolutely. It was sex, drugs, and rock and roll, man. That was what drug me down. Thinking about later, thinking about those years, how many times God actually pulled me out of the gutter without me even knowing it. Got to think He had something better for me, and I just didn't know it yet.
So as you got a real job, where was the music in your life at that point?
I kind of got, I really got sidetracked because it was a new career that I knew I needed to make. So I spent the next 30 years as a CPA and corporate finance. So it was something that I knew I had to do, and I kind of left it, for a few years, and then it's just I just got to Jones and started planning for what was I going to do when I gave that up, and that's when I started writing again. I had written and published songs early on in my career, but like you were mentioning, it was all secular music and not a lot of, it was empty. The music was decent, but it was empty, and there was something calling me, something tugging at me to write. Uh, and then it's been really only the last 10 years since about 2012, 13, 14, I started really writing again and knew that it was going to be, uh, it, I was being tugged to just share the word, so.
Okay, so let's before you get into that period of all right, you're back into the music, you get an itch to write. Now I do know you put out a couple of releases that were non faith based before you did that transition over, right?
Yeah. I was just kind of honing my skills, remembering. I mean, I had been away from it for 20 years, so that's what I was doing with those first couple of albums. I mean, jazz and funk were always, you know, the underlining music that I had been accustomed to. So the first couple of releases were mostly all instrumental. So I was just re revisiting and honing my skills again, man, playing piano. And so, and then it got to be, well, I really want to say something now that means something to somebody. And, that by then we were digging in, all of us, you and and Alan and Colleen and I, we were digging in deep into the Bible. And, I said to myself, this is, what a fantastic source, this and it, what it really meant to be given the gift of music to begin with. And I started learning that it was, that was God's gift to me, and start reading through the word, and uh, the Psalms were a big inspiration. I mean, w- as you read, I mean, he's my hero. King David was my hero, or is my hero. And he was the one that he kind of brought music into the forefront as a part of worship in God's kingdom, about God's kingdom. And he was the one that brought that really to the forefront, and he's been my hero.
So you're getting to this point where, well, we've all pretty much, we're almost at transition point from where we were at to going to OVCN. Definitely agree. The four of us were on fire in a way that was quite amazing at that time. Just the revelation that we were receiving, sharing amongst each other, and the group of peers that we had around us. But I got to tell you, when you keyed me onto Mr. Responsibility, which was your name, Mr. R, and the instrumental music, I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. But then it was shortly after that the switch flipped for you, where it was like, now I want to sing for God. Now I want to be where you made that revelation that my talent in music, my ability to write songs and perform and get this out here is going to be part of the hands and feet of Jesus Christ. And I just thought that was the coolest thing ever when you started sharing that and you transitioned to faith-based music.
Yeah, I mean, and there's no turning back, really. I mean, it would be, I mean, for what? I mean, it just, the we talked about the Great Commission so many times in our men's group and Bible study and stuff. That I, that's my call. That's we all have been given talents from God, and if we put them to work, they should, you know, glorify God.
So, do you know off the top of your head how many albums you've released in the name of God?
Well, actually, when I tried releasing albums, but now we get into kind of how the music industry has morphed and how people consume music. So ever since probably 2018, 2017, 18, like that, I just started releasing singles, and publishing singles, and started my own publishing company. I mean, I guess it's really it's really a studio project, if you will. I'm not I'm not about to band together a group and go out on the road and tour. That's not going to happen for me. And so it's a studio project, as you well know. And I get my friends like you, and I've got a group of musicians that are in the Branson, Missouri music scene, and all believers, really strong Christians. I just got off the phone with this gentleman that sings leads on most of my songs now, and he wants to do it because he believes in the message, and he's a really strong believer too. And so everybody I've surrounded myself with musically wants to partake in the message that we have, you know. So it's been it's been an interesting journey. I mean, I just wait for the inspiration, then I go dig up the scriptures and start writing.
So, I mean, when you first approached me about playing on a track, I thought, my goodness, this guy can run rings around me. Most people can run rings around me, but I was so excited to be a part of it and to learn something new. And honestly, you took me right under your wing. You set me up with monitors, Ableton software. You showed me how the systems worked. You know, you were very patient with me, laying down bass tracks for you. You even allowed me to write some lyrics for one of the tunes. That was very humbling.
Yeah, actually, we wrote. I was looking back in the catalog. We've actually written a couple and recorded a couple of your
Yeah.
songs.
Yep.
You know, so yeah. I mean, you know, it's a little selfish, bro, because I needed a bass player. It all starts for me. It all starts with the rhythm tracks, you know, and so. You know, I'm intrigued with Latin music, as you well know, being a kid from the mission, and you know, so I always use the Latin percussion. I like to use it, and the, you know, it's got to start for me. I'm intrigued with the Afro Caribbean, you know, rhythms. Not necessarily Cuban or Jamaican. Those are kind of set in salsa and in reggae, but there's this other facet of rhythms out of the Caribbean that I draw a lot from, because I want people to I want them to be tapping their toe, and then hopefully they're gonna open up their ears and hear what we're saying. And so, you know, you start with some of those rhythms, and you stir in a little bit of you know, gospel. You stir in a lot from the word, and all of a sudden you got righteous funk, man.
So I have a version of how righteous funk came about.
Okay.
I don't know if it's accurate, but when I first heard you say it was righteous funk, I was like, oh, that is just perfect. That just describes Russ's music to a T. So how did righteous funk, the title of righteous funk,
I have
come about?
no idea.
All right. So the way I recall it, we were in men's group. There was a little going back and forth. You may have been showcasing whatever the latest tune was that you had finished. And I don't remember who threw it out, but it stuck, righteous funk, and it was just like, yeah, that's it. And it literally is some righteous funk music.
Yeah, I mean, I like to tag it. I mean, I write original music. I'm not trying to write like anybody else. You know, I'm not. You probably will never hear my music by a worship band, because I write what comes to me, and God's my inspiration, man. So it happens to be faith based, but it's not necessarily worship music, you know. And I, you know, some of the modern guys that I really and have been influenced by are like Toby Mac and now Torrin Wells and Danny Goki even, and CeCe Winans, and you know, so it's gospel, and it's it's got rhythm to it. It's more on the funk side than the countryside, I guess.
So what I would like to do is we've got one of Russ's music videos queued up. I'd like him to set the table for the song "Why Wait." And truth be told, there's two reasons why I asked him to bring that video. One, I'm in the video, so I'm a little partial to it. Two, I just love this song. This song is just an awesome tune. Is it still currently the most viewed single song of yours, or?
I mean, it's up there. The message is, basically to people with knowledge of the gospel, but maybe are sitting on the fence. And so the message is, you know what's right. Well, why are you waiting to make a choice? And you'll see some of the scenes in this for this track. It shows somebody literally sitting on the rail, and that's kind of the message in this one. I think that my music probably is more geared towards seekers, if you will, but the message is straight from the gospel, so anybody can enjoy it that loves God.
All right, so let's cue up "Why Wait" by Russ Smith.
There's so much hurt and pain. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be that way. There's an anchor for the truth, so listen to what I say. God's word is here today, and in it is your proof. And so I'm here to say, it doesn't have to be that way. No, it doesn't have to be. No, it doesn't have to be that way. Nothing great about it, feeling only down. Simply taking, thinking you've been missing, feeling you're left out. Why are you waiting? It could be yours right now. Why are you waiting? Our souls stay long, and who doesn't need some joy? Don't let this life just be. It doesn't have to be that way. Stand for the truth. God's word is your proof. There's a power that can destroy everything you're promised today. So
Yeah, that brings back memories. You know, that was all a couple of years ago now.
Yeah. Yeah. We filmed a chunk of that upstairs at my place.
Yeah, right now where we have Bible study, man.
Right. Right. That was cool. So you want to share with everyone some of the hats you wore regarding that song? Like, I mean, with the writing, the producing, and even making the video?
Well, yeah, it is kind of a one-man shop when it comes to production, but can't do it without my brothers, man. The vocals are Mike Walker, and like I said, he's just a really strong believer. And you know, you guys that helped out with it, I do most of the writing and production in my studio at home, and basically I play all the instruments, but then I get my brothers to come in and add to it, and then then it becomes more than songwriting. Then it becomes music production, and I'll mix all the tunes back in the studio at in Branson, and that's where we'll record the vocals and guitars. There wasn't any guitars on that one, but I use guitar a lot on some of them. So I got a really good friend back there that's been a musical brother for years that adds guitars on a lot of the tracks. Do that, and in the meantime, while all that's waiting, I'm trying to craft a music video for my YouTube channel, and it's all self-produced. I'm not trying to make money with it. I would love for artists to pick up on some of my songs and make them famous for them. But like I've always said, and if I can touch one soul with my music, and then that's great. Then it was a success. I told you I was talking with Mike Walker this morning, and he mentioned something like that, and I said, well, I'll never really know. Was I instrumental in steering somebody to the gospel? I said, even though had tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of streams and spins, I don't really ever know if anyone if it changed anybody's life, but if it was only one, then great. Mike told me that what he would do in his shows, he has this little bag that he gives out at the end of his shows, and in it is his testimony and these little red pebbles, like something you'd have in the fish tank, right? And he gives it out at the end of his show, and he said that the people have come up to him later, and he said, this is how you'll know, because this guy pulls out this little red rock that was supposed to represent the blood of Jesus. That's what his red rocks were about. And the guy said, I've been carrying this ever since I saw you, and heard your music. And so he goes, you may know, and maybe you won't, but just one soul. If we can save one soul, then Great Commission is nailed, right?
Absolutely. But, I know for a fact it's been more than one soul. And you know that when you go to meet the Father in heaven, you'll see all the souls you touched. And as a byproduct of the souls you initially touched, all the souls that they touched. And that will be, for all of us who follow the Great Commission, I think it's going to be one of the most humbling moments in our time in eternity to see that, to realize, wow, I had no idea. And because we always say, if we can at least do one, if one person hears it, even when we're leading ministry, or we're doing anything with the guys at the men's group, if we have one guy, it's worth it. It's all worth it. And the celebration that goes on in heaven every time one single person accepts Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior.
Yeah. I just hope that, and I have no idea and never even really thought about it till now, but I hope we don't have tears and cry in heaven, because when I find that out, I think I'm just going to be a blubbering idiot with tears, man.
Well, there's tears of joy, right?
Well, okay.
So you could have some tears of joy. So now you're retired. You're a grandpa.
Yeah.
You spend your time with your wife, your grandchildren, your children, and then when inspiration hits, you're writing these songs. You're furthering your walk, your personal relationship with Jesus Christ. I mean, what's that like for you now? Because where you see yourself now, and you look back at this journey, how do you reflect on that? What are some of the things that come to mind?
Well, a lot of them I'd rather not reflect on. We've talked about that off script. So, but I mean, I'm a happy man. I'm a blessed man. So, whatever's going on now is what was supposed to go on now, and I'm humbled by the whole thing, and I'm a blessed man. I'm happy. I'm a happy soul, man. You mentioned my grandson or my grandkids. I have one grandson, one granddaughter, and I tell them all the time, "You're my favorite grandson." You know that, right? But he's on fire. That little Oliver is on fire. I told you yesterday, we didn't show up at church yesterday because he wanted to bring us. His parents are going to they live farther away, so they found their own church to go to, right? And he wanted his Nona and his Papa to go to his church, because we kept bringing him to OVCN, and we were bringing him to baby church, and then he graduated into Sunday school, and so he wanted to share with us his church. So yesterday we went with Oliver, and he showed us around his church, and it I mean, what can you say about that?
That's so cool, because I mean, there was a time where your son wasn't going to church, and the influence that you and your wife have had in his life in that way, and then in your grandchildren's life to share the word. And now your grandson is saying, "Papa, Nona, come see,
come to my
to
church."
my church." That's just a beautiful thing. That's like the icing on the cake.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's pretty incredible. I mean, we just thank God.
Amen to that. So, and for those out there wondering, because we didn't get too much into the salt of it, Russ and myself both came from a life of strife and struggle. We both had lifetime choices in life that weren't the best or the right ones to do. But would you not? Would you agree with me to say that it was that journey, that rocky journey, that secular journey, that got us essentially to where we're at today, talking on these microphones?
Oh, it'd have to be. Like I said, God pulled me out of the gutter, several times. Literally not the gutter, but maybe not maybe not being around anymore. And I know that you had a similar background, but I just revel in where we're at now and what we're doing now, and there's a lot more to do.
There certainly is. So, I know we're not quote unquote live right now, but would you like to tell us what you're currently working on right now in the studio? Is there a new track or a musical idea that you're fleshing out right now?
Yeah, so on my birthday last year, at the end of last year, my birthday, my oldest son, not Nate, but Steve, who you know well, and he he gave me a birthday present, and it was the lyrics to a song, and the it really did kind of it's called "I Know a Guy," and it's kind of it's written in the first person, and it's him crying out for help, and he has since changed gears and recognizes that that God needs to be a big part of his life too. He's been through some rough times in the last couple of years, and now I know as when he gave me these lyrics, I said, "Yeah, well, we're gonna write a song." So I Know a Guy is next up in the queue, and it's ready. We're going in for vocals in Branson the end of the month, and then the production phase starts. We'll release it probably the end of May, I guess. I Know a Guy, and it's basically a cry for help, but the guy he knows is God, and the guy he knows is Jesus, and he's asking for his help.
That's so cool. Can't wait to hear that one. I got a little spoof working in my head about I Know a Guy, being from New York. At some point when I preach or address whatever talk I'm going to do in front of a group, I'm going to be like, "Hey, when you're down on your luck, when you got some problems, I know a guy. Forget about it."
Well, you know what? Can I use that clip at the beginning
absolutely.
of the video?
Absolutely.
It would be good.
He take care of everything. Make all your troubles go away.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
All right, so Rob will have to give us a little snippet from the video for that. That'll be great.
Right on. Well, hey, man, thank you so much for coming and sharing some time that we could talk and experience what we did today with Keeping It Real with Reverend Sal G. And this is my brother Russ here, and I'm so again happy to have you in my life, have Colleen in your life, your whole family, and we'll have to get you to come back on next time, and we'll have to hear about I Know a Guy.
All right. Well, I appreciate the invite to your Godcast.
All right.